Let's move on to this, shall we? In today's episode of Angry Old Man Yelling at the Clouds, Rob Liefeld, creator of the Deadpool comic, is back in the news again. And I just want to, listen, let me give this preface. I have met Rob on several occasions. He came into our studio.
Yes.
And has done shows with us.
Yes.
And I hung out with us after. Really like the guy. Super charming. I've always liked him. Super favorable. Now, of course, then he's kind of become this guy who likes to put himself in the news lately. Of course, recently we talked about the fact that he came out publicly and said, I will never work with Marvel again. As it turns out, because they didn't invite him to a party. A party he should have been invited to.
They should have just let him in the door, whether he had the invite or not.
I agree. They just should have, they should have let him in.
And his family.
And his family.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Of course, he was there they invited him to the premiere. They didn't invite him to the after party. They should have invited him. Is that grounds for coming out and saying, I vow I will never work with you again? I don't know. He's been invited to a lot of parties thanks to the Deadpool movie success. But anyway, Rob Liefeld has decided to take it to another level, as he is now publicly calling for Kevin Feige to be fired from Marvel. Rob Liefeld took to social media, responding to a social media post about the financial struggles of Captain America: Brave New World, which, by the way, is still about to cross $300 million, and said, get Feige off the mound he's spent.
He didn't complain about this last July with Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yep. Get Feige off the mound. He's done. Get him out. Fire him. Can't do it anymore. Didn't the last movie put out make $1.3 billion? Doesn't matter. Didn't like that Doctor Strange movie make it almost $1 billion? Doesn't matter. Wasn't Egg Long a big surprise hit? Doesn't matter.
Guardians 3, 800
Guardians
plus.
3 made over 800 million. Doesn't matter. He's spent. And he's done. I hate saying this because, like I said, I personally think he probably doesn't remember me from a hole in the wall, but I remember hanging out with Rob Liefeld at our studios, and I've really liked him. But man, this guy has just become a whiny sulk, desperate to keep himself in the headlines. And it's like, I mean, literally the most successful producer in Hollywood history. Guy with films nominated for Best Picture, highest box office totals in history. Like, I lost count of how many of the top 10 movies all time are Kevin Feige movies. I've lost count. It's more than 2 or 3 are Kevin Feige movies. And Captain America: Brave New World came out. Not a success. I don't like the film. But that's enough for Rob Liefeld to come out and scream at the clouds. Get Feige off the mound. He's spent. This, for me, Rob, unfortunately now I think we were close, but this little thing has pushed me to the thing of, I don't think we're ever covering anything Rob Liefeld ever says again. I think I think he's done now. He's done. His relevance is over. This type of thing is just, and listen, again, you'll be hard pressed to find somebody who's as much of a critic of Captain America: Brave New World as I am. But like this sort of thing is just like, yeah, I think we're safe to say, let's never talk about Rob Liefeld again. Anything he now says is just old man screaming at the clouds. We want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's episode, NordVPN. All right, let's be real. There's nothing worse than wanting to stream your favorite show or watch a live game only to find out it's blocked in your country. But guess what? With NordVPN, that is never a problem. With just one click, you can switch your virtual location and access content from anywhere in the world. I have loved using NordVPN. Whether I'm traveling and using public Wi-Fi or just shopping online, NordVPN keeps my personal info safe and private. By switching my location, I can even save money on flights, hotels, and subscriptions. It's like a cheat code for getting the best deals. NordVPN is the fastest VPN in the world, so there's no buffering when I'm streaming. Plus, their threat protection feature blocks blocks malware, trackers, and phishing attempts, keeping my devices safe 24/7. And with just one account, I can protect up to 10 devices, so my whole setup is covered. So to get the best discount on your NordVPN plan, head to nordvpn.com/John Campea, and our link will even give you 4 extra months for free on the 2-year plan. Plus, there's no risk with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Links in the description. Check it out now. I don't know. Listen, you've been on shows with him as well. I know you appreciate him. I don't know. What do you think about this, this social
Rob
media
Liefeld,
post?
I'm a huge fan. I'll say I was a huge fan of his when I first saw his Hawk and Dove art back for DC in the 80s. Rob Liefeld's been out here before. You know, he had a big riff with Todd McFarlane. They're friends again. Hey, he did a Spike Lee directed Levi's commercial. You can't. But here's what I would say. First of all, and Kevin Feige, you know, I coined the phrase, he's our Lord and Savior for the comic book movie. Mm-hmm. Kevin Feige is the one man on planet Earth who has a hot toy of himself. Hot Toys made a Kevin Feige hot toy. And to me, I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. He also has greenlit a series about Vision created by Terry Matalas. And I think the way Terry Matalas handled Data in Star Trek Picard Season 3 shows that Terry's got some unique insight in how do you humanize artificial life. I think that was a great move. And I think, you know, after you are as successful as Kevin Feige had been, there's no way to go but down. But I think what Rob is mad about, I think his anger might be misplaced. I don't think it's necessarily Kevin Feige, because remember, Kevin Feige was...
I don't know, man. It sounds like it's a pretty personal grudge against Kevin Feige.
Yeah, it sounds personal, but I'm like, look, Jim Starlin, who created Thanos, he appeared in Endgame, you know, as one of the men in the therapy group that Captain America is speaking to in the beginning of the film. And there was they've paid a lot of respect to creators, especially in Fox put Len Wein in Days of Future Past, who co-created. But there's been some really weird things that Marvel corporate has done. For instance, adding names to the creator of Wolverine recently, which was something that was already settled, but no, Marvel opened that back up. What Bo DeMeo, who created X-Men 97, has been saying. And I don't know if there's something other than what's happening. I think Rob is litigating this in the court of public opinion, which I think is a mistake. But I think that the way Marvel is treating creators, comic creators specifically, or creators, there might be something going on that we don't know about that has pissed Rob Liefeld off. Him, because being the most, obviously, he did create a Deadpool. There was a lot of other creators that added to his wisecracking, breaking the fourth wall, which is not how Deadpool was when Rob created him. So I think there might be something else going on. I don't think anything like this is good form. And I'm a fan of Rob's, and I would say, Rob, don't do this, because I like him very, very much. And I think that, you know, Kevin Feige, he's trying to bring back the Fantastic Four. He retooled Daredevil. He's still making some great moves, you know, and I'm looking forward to what Doomsday is going to offer, and I can't wait to see Secret Wars. So I think both of these gentlemen should, you know, shake hands and move forward together.
Why?
Well, that's the thing. I know Kevin Feige doesn't have to. It's just because I like him. You know, I've never met Kevin Feige, and I think he honestly likes Star Trek 3: The Search for Spock too much. But that's just neither here nor there. But I do think I don't like to see. Sorry, I don't like. They did a great podcast on the Inglorious Treksperts together. I don't know. It bums me out.
You know, the impression I get is, and I fully confess, this is just my impression that could be 1,000 miles off. Okay. The impression I get from Rob Liefeld is that he feels like, I remember when the first Deadpool movie came out, he was kind of treated like royalty.
Right.
When the first one came out, right? And then the second one came out, not as much. Not as much. But I feel like, and again, this is purely my impression that could be 1,000 miles off. Okay. Don't take this as fact. But it kind of feels like he feels if Deadpool's ever got a thing, I should be front and center. You should be taking me on the press tours. You should be putting me out in front of the press.
Yeah.
You should be having me come up on stage at the premiere. And I feel like he feels like he should have that every time anything happens with Deadpool. And it's like, you got your flowers already. I mean, they took a character you created, yes, but now they've made it its own thing. But I don't know, Chris, you see this? Impressions?
I think Rob's onto something here with there has to be something more happening. The not being invited to after parties and things like that, I do think that's just bad form. I think that's not a good move. And The Guardian reported earlier this past year that a lot of these creators have maybe been paid like $5,000 and given a premiere invite if they get the premiere invite for their work, or they get a special thanks for the work that they've created or the work that they've drawn from, even if these weren't their original characters, the source materials that they brought to the table. They get a, hey, thanks for that. So there does seem like there is a little bit of, there's like a lack of respect for these creators. It feels like, I don't know if that's actually true. These are just things that have been reported, but it does feel like maybe they're not giving credit to the people who made these characters that are so beloved and now are on our screens. That being said, I agree that the way that Rob Liefeld is treating this and handling this is not the best. Once again, I come back to so many people need PR training. So many people do not need to be heard every waking moment of the day. Again, I know that I'm a hypocrite. I'm on a show where I talk about my opinions, but I also know that you all should disagree with my opinions. If you do, like, air that, let me know that. But I'm also not going to go out of my way to talk smack about somebody who I don't agree with necessarily. This also kind of rings like, and I know this is a crazy comparison, but if I worked with a director who I did not enjoy, and then like going full scorched earth on everything. Now, if that person was a genuinely horrible person who treated all of their people on set terribly and had so much misconduct, yes, you do that. But if you just don't like each other, you don't have to let everyone know that, right? That's why you should spend time talking about the things you love more than things you hate. That's why it's so easy when you work with somebody like Rob, right? Of, oh, I can talk about what a great time I had on this project all day long. And on other projects where I haven't had a good time, I go, oh yeah, that one happened and it wasn't the best time for me, but I'd like to pivot to something else. Or, hey, I really don't appreciate how I was treated in this. I really wish that I had gotten that invite. They must have lost it. Moving forward, I don't think I'm going to work with Marvel as much, as opposed to now continually talking about how this guy has to go. That just seems in poor taste.
Right. Look, I'd also say I don't think that Kevin Feige was in charge of the party list for the Deadpool and Wolverine premiere. And I'll say one more thing. You know, I've been working with Max Allan Collins on this True Noir project that he wrote. He also wrote the graphic novel Road to Perdition.
Right.
Turns into a movie by Sam Mendes, coming off the Oscar for American Beauty. Stars Paul Newman, Tom Hanks, Jude Law, Daniel Craig. They basically, this is the man who created this whole thing. They basically treated him like a second-class citizen at the premiere. Mm-hmm. They didn't, at the time, graphic novels were newly adapted, but they didn't even want anyone to know it was adapted from a graphic novel. And he wrote it and created all these characters, and he was treated not well. And again, I understand Hollywood and comic books, even though comic books are making a lot of money for Hollywood, it's one thing to write a comic book and create characters. It's a whole other thing to make a movie that costs $300 million. So there's a lot more at stake.
Anyway, guys, question is for you. How do you feel about this whole stupid mess that shouldn't even be a thing? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.